In 2018, a crumbling church ledger, hidden beneath the warped floorboards of Salem's oldest meeting house, unveiled a chilling secret: over 200 missing persons tied to the Massachusetts witch trials, their fates erased from history. This private record, kept by Salem's most powerful family, the Blackwells, listed names, execution dates, property valuations, and cryptic notes like "acquisition complete" next to each victim. While history records 19 official executions during the 1692 Salem witch trials, this ledger suggests a staggering 237 deaths, with most victims systematically wiped from public memory through cunning record-keeping. Even more unsettling, the properties of these vanished souls were funneled to three men: Judge Ezekiel Blackwell, Reverend Nathaniel Blackwell, and Sheriff Josiah Blackwell, brothers whose descendants still control over 40% of Salem's historic district today. The ledger's final entry, dated October 1720, chills the blood. Beside the name Mercy Blackwell, just 5 words: family matter resolved. This story isn't for the faint of heart. Only those daring enough to confront history's darkest corners should continue. If you're among the brave seeking these hidden truths, subscribe now and share in the comments which state you're joining us from. These are the tales most shy away from, but we're just beginning. Let's journey back to colonial Massachusetts, where the roots of this nightmare took hold. Salem in 1692 was a pressure cooker of fear, a Puritan outpost of some 500 souls nestled in Massachusetts Bay Colony's dense forests. The village centered around a stark meeting house, surrounded by modest wooden homes and scattered farms. Puritan doctrine ruled every facet of life, with strict piety demanded of all. At the heart of this rigid community stood the Blackwell brothers, whose influence was unmatched. Their imposing 2-story home, its rare glass windows gleaming opposite the meeting house, symbolized their dominance. Judge Ezekiel Blackwell, 46, presided over the court with an iron will, his piercing eyes and black attire masking his hunger for power behind a facade of humility. Reverend Nathaniel Blackwell, 44, wielded spiritual authority, his fiery sermons shaking the meeting house rafters, convincing many he could peer into their souls. Sheriff Josiah Blackwell, 41, enforced their decrees with brute force, his carved walking stick rumored to have shattered more bones than any blade in Essex County. Together, they controlled Salem's law, faith, and order. But change loomed. New merchants and families like the Putnams and Proctors challenged the Blackwells' trade monopoly and influence. The brothers needed a way to tighten their grip, and the first whispers of witchcraft offered the perfect weapon. The winter of 1691 to 1692 was brutal. Food dwindled, illness spread, and fear festered in cramped homes. In Reverend Nathaniel's household, his niece Mercy Blackwell, a sharp 16-year-old with copper hair tucked under a modest cap, observed the growing unease. Orphaned at birth, Mercy had been raised by her uncle, learning to read and write English and Latin, a rare skill for a girl. She kept the church's records, logging baptisms and deaths, but also made entries in a secret ledger her uncle kept locked away. At night, she overheard hushed, excited talks among her father Ezekiel and uncles, their voices dropping when anyone neared. One frigid February evening, as Mercy carried firewood to Nathaniel's study, she caught her father's voice: "Widow Porter's land borders the river we need. She's refused to sell twice." Josiah's frustration was palpable. "Stubborn woman." Nathaniel's reply was icy: "Perhaps she'll soon face other troubles. I've heard whispers of strange behavior." Laughter followed, sending a shiver through Mercy unrelated to the cold. 2 weeks later, when witchcraft accusations erupted, Mercy couldn't ignore the timing. By spring, accusations blazed through Salem. Young girls convulsed in the meeting house, claiming spectral torment. Respectable citizens were branded Satan's allies, accused of blighting crops or cursing livestock. Ezekiel presided over swift trials, Nathaniel justified them with scripture, and Josiah hauled the accused away under cover of night. The jail overflowed, and neighbor turned against neighbor as old grudges fueled charges. Mercy, tasked with updating the secret ledger, noticed a pattern: many accused owned land her father coveted. When Widow Porter was dragged screaming from her home in April, her riverside property was sold to Ezekiel within days at a pittance, supposedly to cover her imprisonment costs. By June, executions began. Mercy watched Bridget Bishop hang at Gallows Hill, Nathaniel praying as the rope tightened. That night, unable to sleep, Mercy stole into her uncle's study, using a copied key to unlock the ledger. What she found was monstrous. Beyond public trials, the ledger listed dozens of unrecorded names, their properties inventoried, and fates marked with phrases like, matter concluded, or, acquisition complete. Secret executions, disguised as flights from justice, revealed a death toll far beyond the official 19. The Blackwells weren't just exploiting the witch panic, they were orchestrating a campaign of theft and murder. If this tale unsettles you, share it with a friend who craves dark history. Like this story to fuel our search for truth, and subscribe for more chilling revelations. Let's uncover what happens as Mercy's world crumbles. Summer 1692 brought no respite. Trials intensified, with Ezekiel's verdicts rarely taking an hour. The accused faced a grim choice: confess and name others, or die. In the Blackwell home's basement, Josiah's private examinations left prisoners broken, their confessions coerced through torture. One July night, Mercy, sent to deliver refreshments, glimpsed Farmer Thomas Putnam, his face battered, fingers twisted unnaturally. "They made me say it," he whispered before Josiah's stick silenced him. Mercy fled, her heart pounding. She began copying ledger pages, hiding them under her bedroom floorboard, determined to preserve proof of her family's crimes. By August, the ledger noted, escaped, prisoners, but Mercy found entries like, disposed of, swamp burial. One read, Rachel Nurse, resistant. Eliminated quietly. Property transferred. The Blackwells weren't just profiting, they were erasing their victims entirely. Mercy took risks, smuggling paper to prisoners for testimonies and questioning families of the escaped. She compiled her own ledger, mapping the Blackwells' growing empire, mills, farmland, churches, and riverside properties. By September, their wealth had skyrocketed, but dissent stirred. Cotton Mather questioned the trial's evidence, and prominent citizens doubted the executions of respected figures like Rebecca Nurse. The Blackwells, sensing scrutiny, escalated. Their ledger listed priority acquisitions, wealthy families targeted to secure regional dominance. On a stormy September night, Mercy and her cousin William, Josiah's son, overheard a chilling plan in Ezekiel's study. The brothers plotted to seize 17 estates in 3 weeks, using planted evidence and secret killings to avoid public trials. "The swamp has room enough," Josiah said coldly. William, shaken, had suspected his father's wrongs but feared speaking out. He revealed witnessing a secret burial, confirming Mercy's findings. They devised a plan: Mercy would take their evidence to Governor Phipps in Boston while William created a diversion. The next evening, as William set a controlled fire in an abandoned barn, Mercy prepared to flee with her documents. But as church bells rang, Josiah burst into her room, deputies at his side, her hidden papers in hand. "Mercy Blackwell, you are charged with witchcraft," he declared. William had betrayed her, his loyalty to family overriding his doubts. Dragged to the meeting house's root cellar, Mercy faced Ezekiel alone. He opened the ledger, lamenting her potential. "How many have you murdered?" she demanded. Ezekiel shrugged. "In times of crisis, some die publicly, others discreetly." As he prepared to write her fate, Mercy realized she'd vanished like the others, her name erased. Yet history shifted. In October 1692, Governor Phipps banned spectral evidence, halting arrests. A mysterious letter, likely Mercy's evidence, reached him, detailing the Blackwells' crimes. During a surprise inspection, colonial officials found the secret ledger. The brothers fled that night, their deputies vanishing with them, rumored to have escaped with vast wealth to Virginia or the Caribbean. For decades, their crimes faded into obscurity, the colony eager to forget the trial's shame. Families of the missing accepted tales of flight, unaware of the ledger's truth. In 1720, workers renovating the meeting house uncovered a hidden chamber, its walls etched with names and dates, bloodstains, and graves nearby. A journal, signed M.B., recounted Mercy's imprisonment and escape, crediting William's last-minute redemption. He had alerted Phipps' men, allowing her to flee during the chaos. Her final entry, dated October 1720, vowed to expose the Blackwells' calculated scheme of murder and theft. Bloodstains marred its last page, hinting at her possible murder by family enforcers. The Blackwell's descendants, many under new names, held Salem's prime land into the 19th century. Letters from 1695 to 1730 suggest the brothers continued their schemes in the southern colonies, leaving trails of disappearances. The Salem trials, officially 19 deaths, hit a far greater toll, perhaps 237 souls, their stories buried until now. This tale reveals humanity's darkest impulses, greed and power cloaked in righteousness. What do you think? Has the full truth surfaced, or do Blackwell's secrets still lurk? Comment below, subscribe, and share with those who dare face history's horrors. Hit the bell for more stories too grim for most. The past holds monsters, and we're here to unmask them.